Okay, y'all. So today what we're going to be making is a button door. Now, that's different from a key press door, because key press, you would press a key on the keyboard. This one, we're going to make an actual physical button for us to open a door. I'm going to put it on the back side of my house over here. So I'm just going to start building it right here. Okay. First thing we got to do is we need to go into our user blueprints, and we're going to make a button. Okay. So I'm going to right click in here. This is going to be a blueprint. It's going to be an actor. And I'm just going to call this button, we can call it button 4-door. Why not? There we go. We'll do something that'll help us understand what we're looking for here. And then we'll just open up this blueprint. And it's thinking about it, so I'm going to give it just a second. Or it's entirely possible it locked up, just like I did to John Trey a second ago. We'll find out here real quick. We'll do Control-Alt-Delete, go to the Task Manager. And let's just kind of see CPU. Okay, looks like everything is snapping back, so we should be in pretty good shape. Okay, this one is suspended. So if you're not sure what to do when you see something like this happen, try and do Control-Alt-Delete first, and that'll usually cause it to get over whatever little hump it's trying to push over. Okay, I'm going to take this up to the top. First off, we have some things that we can use for buttons inside of the Polygon prototype in that Polygon prototype pack. We can just use some cylinders if we want to, but since we have those assets to use, let's go ahead and just use them. All right, so we'll go to the content pack here in the Polygon prototypes. I'm going to type in button. There we go. And we have a button switch, and then we have some other round button pieces right there. I'm going to go ahead and drag in this one, which is the button switch. Let's go ahead and check, see if it's in the right spot. That's at 0, 0, 0. That's good. And then the button itself, I'll bring that in. Okay. And those line up pretty well. We have one inside of the other right now. So for what we're going to be doing, it won't be a big deal to have it is in this hierarchy where the button push is inside of the switch. So let me kind of zoom in here a little bit. I'm going to slow down my camera because it's going really fast, and these things at this point are kind of small. So I'm going to make it bigger. I'm also going to make this button go a little bit further down because it's going to be something we step up onto and not necessarily something that we want to push like with our hand or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and increase the size on this one to about 4. I'm going to leave the other side of this alone. Looks like the inside spread out a little bit faster than the other one did. So I'm going to go ahead and take that back. Okay, and I'll just get rid of the hierarchy altogether. We'll just move them all at the same time. 4, 4, and then I'll probably just do this to 2 just so it's sitting up a little bit higher. Okay, that looks pretty good. Everything seems to be centered. I'm going to go ahead and compile it. And I'm going to bring it into the level just so we can see what it looks like. Okay, let's go back to content. This is getting saved inside of my, oops, let's get rid of that, inside of my content under user blueprints. So here's the button for the door right there. I'm going to drag it in, see if this is something that's big enough. It looks like it's still kind of small. Once it's in the level, we can actually just increase its size right here. So that's what I'll do. Make it nice and big. Okay. And I'm going to pull this over a little bit. One other thing, since we're working on the back side of the house, I'm going to take my player start and I'm going to move it to the back side of my house, because who wants to run all over the place all the time? Just no fun. Don't need to do it. All right. So we'll turn this around. We'll be facing our door, and we got our button door, or our button for our door right there. Okay, let's go back in. We have the button for the door. Let's right click and let's just go ahead and make our door too. I want to make the door from scratch. So let's do this one as button door. Let's see, we got it right there. Or let's say door with button, door for button. Yeah, we'll just do it the other way around. There we go. All right, gonna go ahead and open this one up. And we already have doors that we can work with, so since I'm making this one from scratch, I'll probably put it into the doors that we have here, but for now, we're in good shape. Let's go back to this, and I want to grab a door from our Polygon prototype, so I'm going to just type in door. And let's see, this one looks pretty good. Just drag that in. Okay, now this door doesn't need any collision box or anything like that, because we're going to actuate it from the button that we're working with. And this one's going to be something that we're going to rotate open. So since this isn't going to have any kind of event that's necessarily going to kick this off, we can just get rid of everything else that's here. And we'll probably come back and use one of these here after a little bit. But we can just delete these. Or, you know, we can leave them in here too. It doesn't really matter. Let's get rid of that one. And maybe they'll go away. Maybe they won't. That's okay. Just hit compile. The way we're going to get this to kicked off is we need to make an event dispatcher. And that's going to happen from the thing that we step up onto. Okay. Now, since this is going to be something that we're going to step on, we probably are going to need a collider so that we can make sure we're getting a good collision with this. I'm going to use a sphere collider, and I want to shrink it down to about the size of the button. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this in. Now, if for some reason it's not responding to your scaling, you can always go over here and you can scale things down or back up again. Okay, and let's see, I've got the sphere in a hierarchy right here, so I want to press that down. I'm not real sure why it's giving me problems here, but this is one of the joys of working with a new engine. And yep, it's not really doing it for me. We'll go ahead and let's just take it out. I'm add it one more time. Okay. And let's see if this will work with us now. No, that's okay. If it's not really gonna convert itself back down, let's see, let's do 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Okay, so that's a lot smaller. That works out pretty well. And it's about right in the middle of everything there. Pull it out a little bit if we want to. 1.5, yeah, we don't need it to be real tall. We just want it so the player can step into that button space and it'll actuate for us. All right, going into the event graph, we're going to highlight that sphere collider, and we're going to right click in here. We're going to go to begin overlap. You guys are probably all very familiar with that. We'll get this, and we want to check and make sure that we're colliding with our third person character. So we're going to do cast to third person character. Want to make sure that the other actor we're colliding with is that third person character, so make sure you hook up that object reference right there. And then we're going to need our event dispatcher. Okay, so down here in the bottom left corner, you'll see event dispatchers. We're going to go ahead and hit the plus for that. And we'll call this open. Let's see. I'm going to make sure we get this set up so we can actually change it. There we go. Let's see. Actuate door. Okay. Could call it open door, but eventually we're probably going to have it close the door too. So we have our event dispatcher here. And as far as anything we need to work with, this time around, we don't really have to have anything. We're just going to bring that door in. When we drag it in, we can see we've got call, bind, unbind, event, assign, all these kind of things. When we're calling out, when we're actually telling somebody something, we want to use the call. Okay, so we're going to link this up. We don't need to have a target right here for this. It's going to be calling out to anything else that could be using this event dispatcher. So as far as what we need to do for our button, this is it. Okay, so as soon as you walk in, this should call or actuate the door. Let's go over to the door itself. Now, it's good that we already have the button in this space, okay, that it's right here. We're also going to need to put our door in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the door that we just made. Okay, that's going to be in our user blueprints as well. There's the door for button right there. All right, it's going to be actuated on that side, so as far as it rotating, so I'm going to go ahead, put this into place. I think I want to change the color on that too, just because the grid material is kind of janky, and I want to change that. So let's go in here, and I'm looking through some of the polygon prototype stuff. Let's see, just straight. It's kind of not an amazing color. I guess yellow is okay. It's a yellow button, so we'll have a yellow door. All right, going into the event graph, what we need to do here is we need to make an object reference. Now it's going to be to the button that we just made. So I'm going to call this button, just leave it at that. And then right here where we have Boolean, what I want to do is type in the name button for door. Okay, now that's going to give us an option for an object reference. And what that is just a way to refer to specific actors inside of your space. Okay. We also want to make sure that it's instance editable. We're going to check that so the eye is open, or check this box right here so the instance editable is set up so we can select it inside of our level. So going from the door over here under default, you'll see that we have the option for button right there. We'll use the picker, the eyedropper right there, and we'll select the button that's going to go with it. Now if you want to, you can also do the drop down right there, and you can type in button for door. Since we're looking for a specific object, it already knows kind of what you're looking for, so you can just select it right there. We can have multiple buttons that we can hook this up to, so if we wanted to, we could set this up with several different ones to open this door. So effectively now we've got our event dispatcher working, and what we need to do is just take in that call. We need to listen to the call, and to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to take our object reference. Now you already have to have this synced up. You have to have the button and the door attached with the eyedropper tool before you do this. Okay, so I'm going to drag this in, do get button, and we're going to do a bind event. Now you need to remember what you called your event dispatcher over here. Here we called it actuate door, because when we bind this, we need to know the name of that. So actuate door, let's see. There we are, bind event. So it doesn't say listen or anything like that. The other one says call, this one says bind. So we just have to keep that straight. Bind is where we're actually getting all the information coming in. From here you'll see that there's an event. We'll want to pull off of the event here and do a custom event. Okay, this one's going to be called, let's see, open door. We'll just call it that. And this event is what's going to make our door rotate, open, and close. So we're going to drag this off, got our timeline, and we're going to call this swing door. Okay. Now, one thing I like using instead of a vector, especially for doors, is I like to use a float track. So I'm going to go up here to this track inside of our timeline. I'm going to add this in. I'm going to call this one swing. And since we're starting at 0, I'm going to start it right here at a keyframe. I'm going to set it at 0 as well. That's our first keyframe. Now I don't want it to take 5 seconds to open. I think maybe 1.5 would be nice. We don't need it to take that long. And since I have it opening in, I'm going to have it go into the negative. Okay, so right here, I'm going to make sure we're at 1.5. That's at the very end of our timeline. And I'm going to have it swing in -110. Okay, so we can see everything there. If you want it to be kind of smooth as it's doing this, you need to right click on the keyframes at the beginning and at the end, and it probably already said it. You'll see a nice little gradual start and stop with this, instead of just swinging open and kind of seeming like it's stuck and then it snaps into its space. So we have the event set up now. We just need to set the rotation. So we're going to drag off here. If it helps, you can always click on the door itself, and we can click on relative, or we want to look for relative rotation. We want to make sure it's applying to that door. We don't necessarily want to add, because that'll add on to whatever it currently has, and it actually can just start speeding up. Instead, we want to just do set. We're going to set the relative rotation. Connect this up right here. Now the rotator is a different kind of setup than this one right here, right? It won't take the float track that I put in. So all we have to do is right click in this space, go to split struct pin, that'll split everything out. And now you'll notice these are all float values right here. So I can take the swing. It is going to be rotating on the Z axis, which is like our hinge. If we look at this, we can see that blue right there is going to be our hinge. And we want that to be our rotating spot. So now everything's hooked up. We have a small issue. Let's see what it is right here. Okay, so our vent's got some kind of problem where we're not quite matching up. All right, well, that's okay. Let's go ahead and get that fixed. And we'll just take this out, delete that. I'm going to go ahead and hit compile. Bind event to actuate door. I'm going to go back to button for door. Call actuate door is right here. Okay, I'm going to compile this. It's entirely possible if you don't compile or save your previous actor that's actually calling out, it can give you a little bit of a problem. I'm going to go ahead and hit compile again. Okay, still giving us an issue. So what I'm going to do is delete this. I'm going to drag off of the button. The button's already been set up, so we're good there. We're going to do bind to actuate door again. We're going to do that one. And we'll hook it up to event begin play, so it'll automatically start listening for it. And we'll do our custom event again. Let's see, open door. Okay. And let's run this back into play. Okay. So let's see. Yep, now everything's fine. It's probably just because I didn't save and compile the previous actor that had the thing set up. So now what we should be able to do is step onto this button and then the door should open. Okay, let's go ahead and hit play. There's our door. Can't get through it. Step on this. Now it opens and now I can walk through. Okay. All right. That is basically everything there. Go ahead and check your assignment for anything else that you need to add to this, and that'll do it.